Hey, welcome back to my channel. I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm coming at you from my bed because I don't want to get up. So, yeah, let's just get right into it. If you've been here before, Mom, I know that's you. And if you haven't been here before and you're new, keep watching because there is an Easter egg in here. Well, why should you want to befriend yourself? It sucks that I have to give you a why, but it's necessary. It's necessary. And the reason why that you should befriend yourself, because you know that bashing your head against the wall gets old and it can only get you so far. The first step is taking out the critic in your head, and this critic in your head is the voice that tells you that you are not worthy. You cannot do it. Anything that you do is impossible because you are incapable. This is a voice that cripples you in every turn, at every opportunity, and sometimes it can sound like the harshest version of your mother. And no, Mom, this isn't you. Or it can sound like the more slightly toxic tendencies of your ex, and we're all guilty of it, okay? Or it can just sound like your deepest insecurities, your voice, but like the sad version of your voice. I think we need to take time to actually figure out what that voice is, because it's part of the persona. If we quiet those voices, we can do these practices, the following practices. The first thing that does help: establish a standard that you can't waver from. It's a reference point, so it's easier to notice if you go in and out. And the standard is that you can't treat yourself any more badly than you would a closest friend. That's because, like, without any boundaries, we beat ourselves up into like astronomical proportions. It's ridiculous. I don't know if you've been there. I hope you haven't been there, but if you have been there, you need to hear this, and you need to treat yourself like a closest friend, like your closest loved one, like your greatest mentor. Like, treat yourself like someone who is respectable, someone that you love. It's kind of fucked up that we treat other people better than we treat ourselves. So let's make the standard here and now that you won't treat yourself any more badly than you would a closest friend. Yeah. Another important thing to cultivate any friendship, honestly, and especially a friendship with yourself, is to follow through on your promises. Follow through on anything that you say that you're gonna do, anything that you say you want. Please try to fulfill those things for yourself, because the moment that you make these floating promises and you don't fulfill them is the moment that trust for yourself breaks down. If you notice, when someone lies to you or goes back on a promise, you're more inclined to distrust them. And like, what makes you the exception for that? If you do that to yourself, you're not going to like yourself. You're giving yourself, if you're in this state of beating yourself up, not liking being alone with yourself, it's because you're not giving yourself a reason to. It's not a snap of the fingers of love yourself. It's not easy like that. I don't like that phrase. You have to cultivate it by practicing these things, and by focusing on following through. It doesn't even have to be anything big. It could be as small as like doing the dishes, or flossing your teeth, or washing your face in the morning. It could be as easy as those little promises that will build up your confidence. Little wins build up your confidence. And as silly as it is, I do that by making my bed every morning, which I am currently losing right now. But compensating that, I'm making this video instead. It's a win-win situation. And the really important thing is positive reinforcement. As much as we should do this while interacting with other people, we need to do this with ourselves. So if we accomplish a little win, pat yourself on the back. I feel like there's a lot of shame around feeling good about doing little things. Like, instead of doing a hardcore workout of 1 hour, you did 30 minutes of walking, and somehow you should feel like ashamed for that. But you did something for yourself, and that's worth celebrating. Maybe not rubbing it in everyone's faces, but you should definitely reward yourself so that you remember that feeling of accomplishment, that feeling of just, it's a happy feeling. It's a happy feeling, yeah. And within this whole process, it's important to just note these feelings. Note what activities, what decisions make you sad, what activities and decisions that make you happy, what makes you feel certain types of emotions, so that in the future you find yourself in a rut, which you will eventually find yourself in, whether you like it or not. You can recall a action that made you happy. How I use this is like, you know, when you're normally down in the dumps, you're in the trough of the wave. I look back to a time, to an event, to an activity that has made me smile. And whether I want to do that activity or not, I make myself do it because in the past it worked. After the first time, you can't help but feel differently because you did something different. If you have the same input, you're gonna have the same output. But if you change the inputs, you have an opportunity to change the output. And I hope this makes sense. The last, but certainly not least valuable piece of information to help you befriend yourself is evaluating your strengths and weaknesses. And maybe you're resisting at this point because confronting your weaknesses is not very pretty, and it's easy to get in that self-pity, woe is me spiral that makes you give up on even trying to adjust anything. Don't do that. The hole is closed. You can't go in that spiral. It's not open. So write down your strengths and weaknesses. I guess it might be a little too late for the hidden egg, but I hope you've gotten this far because I actually attached a worksheet below with some questions, prompts that can help you realize some things to put you in the right direction, because you can't just befriend yourself. You have to confront some things first. I know, terrible. Worst thing ever. How can I put you through such a punishment? But I'm going to, because in the end it will help you, because it helped me. Actually, that correlation doesn't make any sense. It could help you. I hope it helps you, because it did help me. But yeah. Last thing, evaluating your strengths and weaknesses. I even inserted a link to a site that gives you a little questionnaire and you figure out your signature strengths, which are really interesting to see. The practice in using your signature strengths builds confidence. I don't have scientific backing, but if you would like some, email me and I will find scientific backing, because I can bet those wins boost you immediately. So if you do a signature strength, that's something that you're already good at, but the effect of it is a result of the effort that you made, and a result is measurable, and measurable results are super gratifying. And then there's the other part, which is realizing your weaknesses, and these are often the activities that have negative emotions to it, or things that you have a lot harder time doing, or they're behaviors that you're not entirely proud of. If we confront them, I think there's always a way to transform them into a strength. With enough creative problem solving, you can do it. Like, for example, my weakness before was treating myself. I would like verbally beat myself up constantly. And the way to transform that weakness was to imagine that it was someone else, which is what I am basically advising in this scenario, is pretending that you are a different persona, because it's easier transforming that by making myself that other person, so it's easier to wrap my head around taking care of myself. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, hope you learned something from this. Remember, the worksheet is down below. You can do whatever with that worksheet. I could give 0 shiitake mushrooms, like you could give it to anyone. Actually, I'd encourage it to give it to anyone, and also give me feedback on it, because that's my first time doing a worksheet and I don't feel like I may have been too like aiming for a certain answer instead of giving open-ended questions. But I kind of, yeah, just let me know. Let me know if you read it, if you do it, if you like it, and if you've learned anything from this in the comments below. That would be like out of this world amazing. I might even do something a little special, like give you a gift or something, because engagement. Let's do this. Let's engage. Okay. Bye. This is just how it is. Raw. Just woke up like this. I actually just woke up like this, and got my camera and tripod. Hopefully this video is focused. If it's not, we learn from those mistakes and we test it out more.